Now hopefully you guys understand by now when I say nice solo, so what? There's a little tongue-in-cheek there. This is not a nice solo. This is probably the most memorable piano solo ever recorded. I mean, when it comes to mind like great piano solos, this is one of the first ones I always think of. This is played by the great Chuck Leavell, and if you know anything about Chuck, he's never had a shortage of work. He's been a member of the Allman Brothers, he's been a member of the Rolling Stones, and like I said, it's not that he hasn't worked for these people. If I'm not mistaken, he's actually been a member of these bands. You know, obviously heavy music too, like Aquarium Rescue Unit, stuff like that. Really, really great player, Georgia guy, awesome musician. And this solo is just absolutely incredible. It's a lights out solo. So what I want to do is I want to take this solo that I've learned how to play on the piano and the guitar now, and I want to figure out how to go through and dissect this solo and figure out how to use some of that greatness in my own playing. Now here's the thing, like I say in all these videos, if you just learn how to play this solo and you don't learn how to use it in your own playing, then this really is no good to you. It's only as good to you as every time somebody asks to play Jessica. All right, now, cool thing, yeah, if somebody asks to play Jessica, wear it out. There's no big deal there. But you want to be able to take more from it than just having to play it note for note. All right, now I give that explanation on all these videos, but I want you to understand, I'm not being belittling these solos at all. These are just incredible landmark solos. So having said that, let me just say, please, don't hate on the pentatonic scale, all right? I mean, it's not cool to hate on the pentatonic scale. I know that there are 100,000 videos out there saying, tired of playing in the pentatonic scale, you know, use this simple formula. But let's face it, guys, this solo is 98% the major pentatonic scale. I think the problem may be not that, oh, we need to get out of the pentatonic scale. I think we may just need to learn how to use the pentatonic scale a little differently. All right? Because when I listen to this solo and I hear Chuck play it, I don't go, oh, come on, Chuck, get out of the major pentatonic scale. This is, oh, you know, ho-hum. No, man, this thing is awesome. So I don't think it's really fair to say we just need to hate on the pentatonic scale. Now, having said that, I am all for broadening your horizons, and I think we should. I think we all should. It's a great thing to do. But don't broaden at the expense of saying, oh, we're too good for the pentatonic scale. Chuck Leavell can play whatever he wants. And you'll find as we go through this solo, he almost exclusively uses the pentatonic scale. Another really cool thing that I wanted to do is the approach of learning on the guitar something that a master piano player has played. All right, so things are gonna lay out differently on a guitar than they do on the piano. And this is so valuable to you as a guitar player to learn from other instruments. All right, number one, they're going to voice things differently. So if you want to broaden your horizons as a player on the guitar, learn other instruments solos. I mean, it's a really novel idea, but they don't play things the same way you do. All right? They don't have a, that's not a lick for them, right? So they have their own set of licks that's really common to all those guys. And then if you learn their licks and apply them to your horn, all of a sudden you've got some gold happening. It's also going to make you have to lay out some finger positions maybe a little different than you're used to, which is going to get you out of that comfort zone. Remember, in this solo in particular, still using the pentatonic scale, just going to get you a little bit out of that comfort zone of the guitar box, so to speak. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this thing, and we're going to learn the solo. Now I'm going to go at a fairly reasonable pace here to not take up tons and tons of this video time. What I would encourage you to do is take any part of this, and I'll give good gaps here. Take any part of this and rewind it to where you can learn the solo and take your time on it. All right, I'm just not going to go at a snail pace here. We're just going to move through. And you just take your time, hit the rewind button as many times as you need to, and then once you have it, let's keep rolling. So, let's start this bad boy out, and I'll explain to you as we go a little bit about what he's doing. So the chords are the most important thing to know, and what's happening in the chords are just A and D. Now what what you're going to find as we move through this is there's not going to be a whole lot of emphasis put on that D. It's really just going to kind of take the form of an A and an A sus kind of thing. It does go to the D every now and then on the bass line. He goes. So it's really just A major and D major, and that's what we're going to be working with the whole time. He's going to start his lick out with a chromatic bluesy sounding lick, and it's going to go like this right here. A, B, C, C sharp, D. So you see you just have this chromatic line here. Now I'm voicing that on 14G, 12B, 13B, 14, 15, then I'm going down to the E string to get 11 and 12. We're going to come back up to 13B to 14. So, and then we're going to go straight up to the 14G. We're going to go back to 11G, then up to 14G, up to the D string 14, back to 11 and 14. All right, so that's the first line. Then we're going to do a double stop lick. And now this is going to be something, the double stop is 2 notes at once, and you're going to do a hammer-on with only one of those notes. So this is something that's going to be very common on the piano. This is a cool thing to steal from the piano and apply to the guitar. I'm going to bar the 12th fret on the bottom 2 strings, B and E. So you're going to just hammer on with the ring finger the 14th fret on the B string. 2 times. So you have. So when you come down here, you do the double stop twice. Then you're just going to walk down the pentatonic major scale. B, A, F sharp. Now you're going to go back and get another double stop. And the way I chose to finger this is going to be right here. You're going to get the E and the A together. That's going to be the 9th fret of the G string and the 10th fret of the B string. Then I'm going to put my pinky on the 12th fret of the B string. So you have all together. All right. That's a good stopping point. I would rewind and try to get that part as well and as quick as I could. It's not a slow song. All right, so then we're going to go up now to the next section. It starts with a good double stop again. This time we're going to get the E and the A inverted. We had the E here and the A here. We're going to go up here and get another E and A. And we're going to hammer on our ring finger to the F sharp up here. And if you know the F sharp, that's the 6th of the major pentatonic scale in A. So far we haven't used, well, with the exception of that chromatic, nothing outside of the pentatonic. You're going to hammer on, bar the 17 and 17 on the B and the E, and then hammer on to 19 on the B. Make sure not to hammer on the E, just the B. That way that high A stays ringing the whole time. That's a cool piano lick. Now watch this. Drop down and get a low A. And you're just going to go right back and do that same lick again. That low A is up here on 19D. I'm going to go back to that original double stop I did on 12. So it's. That's going to be back to 14G, 11, 14, 14D, 11, 14 G, another double stop, hammer on, same one, do it twice, and that's just going to walk down. All right, that's another good stop in place. So if you have part 1, that would be part 2, let's call it. So then we're going to go up here and do a pattern. This is a super cool part. What we're going to do is come all the way up here with our pointer finger to the 17th fret on the B string, and this is going to be a straight up A major pentatonic scale working down in a series of 3 notes. So we're going to start with, all right, it's just going to be 17, 19, and then 17 high E. All right, that's going to be, obviously that's 5, 6, and 1 of the pentatonic scale. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to get the, let's see, what is that? 18 G. And we're going to go 18, 17, 19 on B. So you see this pattern of 3s, we're going to start working down. Then we're going to do 16, 18, 17 on B. So 16 and 18 on G, 17 on B. Now we're going to go down to the D string on the 19th fret. We're going to get D, 19, pointer finger on the 16th fret of the G string, and then the 18th fret. So that's our next set of 3. We're going to have 16, 19, 16 on D and G. So that's. We're going to go back and get 14 D up to 16 and then 14 G. Now we're going to enter into this really cool double stop here. The double stop is going to be on the G and the B strings, 14th fret, and you're going to play them just with a pointer finger. You're going to come back with the ring finger and get 16 D 3 times. Then go back to the 14th D. Then that double stop again. Then the ring finger to 16 G. So it's. That whole phrase is slowly. Now what's really cool is we're going to do that same phrase again, but we're going to add an extra thing up top here. We're going to start with the same note. We're going to start on 19, well I guess it's not the same note. We're going to start on 19B and we're going to work our way up. 19, 17 on E, 19, 21. So this is getting on up there on the fretboard. If you've got an old Taylor Strat, you're on the last fret. This is to match Chuck's actual pitches. We're going to have to abandon that in a minute, but I'll show you why. All right, from here, we're going to continue that same pattern. It's just that one little series of 4 to kind of just throw a little curveball at you. All right, from there, we're just walking it right back down. So we have, now we start the, then we're going to 17 to 19, back to 17E, and then we're going to continue down that same pattern. 18, 17, 19, 16, 17, I can't speak. 16, 18, 17, down to the D string, 19, 16, 17, D string, 16, 16, 16. This is really weird. I don't usually speak in numbers, but I think it's important to get the fingering down. I easily just say F sharp, A, and B, but we're going to say 16, 19, and 16 again on G. It's like I'm doing math over here. No good. And then we're going to go back to 14 again and just go 14, 16. And then just cut it short. We're going to do that double stop again. So it's 14, 16, double stop on 16, back to the, double stop on 14, back to the 16, and back to the 14. All right, that's a good stopping place. That whole phrase slowly is this. Then part 2. All right, so on to the next section. The next section is going to start way up here on the 21st fret, and you're going to have to do a double pull off from 20 to 21 to 20 to 19. And then slide back to 17. All right, now after you do that double pull off and you slide back to 17, what you're going to do is you're going to start a new pattern. This pattern is going to be in 2s. That first pattern was in 3s. Now we're in 2s. So it's going to look like this. Straight up with the pointer finger, 17, 19, 14, 17, 16, 14, 14, 16. So you have then the last thing is just to go from the index finger from 14 to 14. And then you're going to do that same lick. That's going to be 16, 14, double 14 double stops there on 12 on G and B. You're going to do that twice. Go back and get the 16. Then do another double stop on 14 G and B. So it's go back to 16 again, and another double stop, and then land on 16 G. So it's that lick coming down slowly. You're going to do the exact same lick again. That time we end it just a little different though. It's a little different tag. It goes, that's just 16, 14, 16, 14, 16G, back to the double stop and in there. So slowly all the way through that section. Okay, our next section is going to be really simple because it's the same thing over and over again. It's a really nice rhythmic breakup though. You're going to push the beat a lot in this. And that lick is just going to go 14D, 16D, and then 14G, and then a double stop. You see all these double stops? Really cool stuff. Not stuff that guitar players just automatically land on. It's going to be 16G and 17B. So it's, and you just repeat that over and over. So the last time, you're going to bounce it and then land on the double stop on G and B strings on 14. So it's. You're actually going to go through that lick 12 times, and on the 12th time you land it. So it's, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, now that's a good stopping place for the end of that section. Rewind it as many times as you need to. Let's move on to the octave part. On the octave part, you're going to have to play octaves. Now you got two options here. I'll show you the way I play it, and I'll show you another way. You could go G string and E string, spread out 3 frets the whole time, so it'll be like 2 on G and 5 on E. Now here, you could also play it 5 on E and 7 on D. But if you're doing this way, you're going to need to do some hybrid picking maybe. It's going to be awful hard to play all those and mute the inside strings. So what I would recommend is doing it this way so you can get up the neck quick without having to think about hybrid picking. You're just going to literally walk straight up a pentatonic major scale. A, B, C sharp, E, F sharp, A. Going to come down. Double the A, F sharp, E, C sharp. So it's. Don't mess up like that, but that's it. Now you're going to have to go down to another string set. You're going to have to go to the D string 2nd fret and the B string 5th fret. Double that. Go up 2 frets. All right, and then we're going to go down to the A. So it's going to be ba-ba-ba-bum. That's back where we started. Down on the, we're going to have to skip strings there. So if you're not used to playing in octaves, that might be a little challenge for you. Then we're going to go to B, and we're going to double it, which should be on 4 and 7. Up 2 frets. Then all the way up to E, which is going to be 9 and 12. I'm sorry, so it's. Okay, so walking that up slowly one more time. Remember, you're going to start on E, down to A, B, C sharp, E, that's all it is. Now that's a really good stopping place to go back and review everything, make sure those octaves are tight, because now we're going to the next section of octaves. We're going to go all the way up to C sharp. Now obviously you know that the fret length is going to change down here and up here. So you're going to have to really work on getting those octaves clean and teaching your fingers how to, get tighter up here. The spread is not the same. If you do octaves on the piano, you really can just memorize what it feels like to hit an octave because the length doesn't change. No matter what, black to black or whatever, the length doesn't change. So, well, unless you go from, never mind. So you have C sharp, walking it down, B to A, F sharp, double it, E, C, B. You're going to skip back down to the next string set, E, E, F sharp, back to A and B. So that phrase is slowly. All right, from there we have our last octave phrase. You're going to start on the A. We're working right back up the pentatonic major scale again. So you got A, doubles, B, C sharp. Now pause, hit the C sharp again, doubled, E, F sharp again, but only one, A, B, A, B, C sharp, all the way up, and then work it back down to B to A. So it's all right, now that's it for the main thing. Now this next part is the cue. This is like the part that he's going to play to let everybody know, look, I'm out of my solo now. This is where we're coming out. So it's a repeated line that he's going to use as kind of a cadence, and then he's going to repeat a kind of a, well, he's got like a bluesy line that he's going to play, and he's going to fill in the gaps there with like different licks. So we'll look at those. This is going to be a really cool lick. This is not going to lay out like real guitar friendly though. All right, here's what we got to do. We're going to have to get this A to ring the whole time. And we're going to go E flat to E, which is going to be our flat 5 up to our E, which is going to give us that really nasty bluesy sound. So I'm going ring finger on 17 E, 16 B, and I'm going to play. I'm going to hammer on, or let's not hammer on, let's just drop our middle finger down on 17 B. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to go, which is going to be 16 and 17 again on B. That I'm not going to say this 17 every time because it's there. So it's going to be the 16 with the 17, then back to the 15. Then we're going to go up to 17G, and then the octaves on A, so it'll be. Then you have a cool little in-between lick, which is going to be. Sounds like. All that is going back to kind of the first thing we did where we're sitting on that 14, 16, back to 14, back to 16, and then that double stop. More double stops. That's going to be the 16 and 17, G and B, hammer on to 18. That's just back to 14, 16, 14, 16. So that whole phrase is. All right, then you're going to repeat that first line again. Now here's the tricky one. The bluesy line. You're going to have to get your middle finger down here on 15 E, which is going to be the flat 7. That's going to get you that nice bluesy sound. And you're going to use pointer on 14G, middle on 15E, ring finger on that flat 5. Trust me, it's not going to stay there. But you're going to hammer on that pinky to 17 now. There you go. You're going to go ring finger slide right back to 15, 14G, then 13 to 14 on B. You're going to go to the 14G, down to 11G. Then you're going to walk it chromatically. See how bluesy we're getting here? One little nice bluesy line. That's going to be 14, 13, and 12 on D. And you're going to hammer on from that minor third to the major third. That's going to be 10 to 11 on D. So that whole little phrase is. All right, might want to really stop there and make sure that's good. Now, we're just going to rewind, go back and hit this lick one more time. Actually, 2 more times, but again. Same lick. Now, this is a cool little thing. This is definitely not something a guitar player would lay out. It's a common double stop, you know, we're just going up here and barring the 17th fret of the top two and hammering on the 19th fret just like we did earlier. But we're going to go down and get this low A on 19D, and we're going to alternate those. So it's going to be. So that's kind of cool. It comes right after that. All right, last time. Do that again. Here's the last part of the solo. F sharp, E, C sharp, B, A, F sharp to E. Guys, it's straight down the pentatonic major scale. And then to close out, you've got this really cool. And that's just going to be A, B. You're playing triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So you go A, B, C, whoa, minor, D, E, F sharp. So we're playing a Dorian scale here. G, A, and then once we hit, we got. Those are all under triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet. Now once we hit the B here, we're just going to go to singles. B, C, D, E, D. And then let Dickie take over. Now, take your time and make sure that part of this is super tight, because once you get those licks down, then we're going to go to this next phase where we learn how to reapply everything. What are the key ingredients of this solo? When I listen to this solo, there are 4 basic things that I broke down that really stand out that make this great. Number 1 is phrasing. I want you to think about the fact that Chuck goes through and plays an idea and doesn't just leave it. He repeats his idea. Now, as a listener, what that teaches me is familiarity. All right, so I hear that and I go, oh, that's a dope lick. And then by the time it comes around again, I actually anticipate that lick. And I go, oh man, yeah, like I know that lick's coming. So when I hear him go, when I hear that lick, but he comes around and gets it again, well, that's super exciting to me because I've already heard it once. So I learned it. Now, subconsciously, I'm not thinking that as the listener. I'm not sitting around thinking, hey, I already know that lick because I heard it. It's just what happens. And that makes it way more familiar to you, and it makes it more pleasant. That's the kind of stuff. See, if I just played a solo and I never repeated anything and I just go at it and go at it and go at it, it's just kind of like, all right, well, all right, that was a whirlwind of notes, but I don't really think I took anything from that. So phrasing is a huge takeaway from this. So that means this is non-harmonic ideas, okay? This is just conceptual idea. Phrasing. That means if I'm playing a solo, I don't care what it is. I can be playing over a blues. But if I sit there and I say, okay, here's my line, and I go, well, I'm going to go again, and then maybe I can change it a little, but I can still do my same phrase. Why not? Repeat yourself. Let the listener get a chance to actually learn what you're doing and respond to it. All right, that's a cool thing. So phrasing was a big one. All right, now this next one is going to be a hard thing for a lot of guitar players to get. And that's why it's so cool to learn other instruments solos. Chuck used the pentatonic major scale almost exclusively during this solo, but he had brief moments where he let the blues slide in. All right, now if you know music theory, the blues, right? We're going to use our flat third, which is the minor third, our flat 5, and our flat 7. So these are the notes that are going to change it from to forget that flat 5. So all those notes are going to help us become more bluesy. Now, here's the trick. Most guitar players don't need help becoming more bluesy. So what we're going to do is reverse that. We need help becoming less bluesy. Think about this. If you go at it and you just blues it and blues it and blues it, there's no effect there. But if you use the pentatonic major scale or some sort of other scale, it doesn't matter, whatever you're playing in, and use the blues as flavor, then it makes it really, really, really stand out a whole lot more. I mean, just consider the fact that he starts the solo off with a nice little bluesy phrase, and then you do not hear the blues again, and I mean you don't hear it again until the very end when he starts the... And you don't really catch it again until the end. But man, baby, when you do hear that blues come in at the end, it feels really, really good. So conceptually, the idea that I take away from listening to the solo is use effects like the blues sparingly so that when they do kick in, you knock people in the teeth with it. Another cool idea, this is number 3 idea I took from this, it's rest. Now, what do you mean by rest? Well, I literally mean don't play. Bookend your ideas with rests. So Chuck doesn't just keep rolling one phrase right into the next, right into the next. He stops for a minute. All right, now that's a novel idea. If you've laid out a really dope line and it sounds really cool, don't you want people to take time to actually digest that line, even if you just give them a split second? Let it digest. If I have, let's say I have a really cool phrase and I say, oh, let's see. There's a cool phrase. What happens if I'm going... Well, you didn't even pay attention to my phrase, right? I mean, it's just passed right over it because I just kept flooding it with a bunch of other notes. But if I take time and I say... Well, you heard my phrase really clearly that time, and that way it's able to sink in and actually mean something. It doesn't get lost in the jumble. So Chuck has all these cool ideas. Bum, 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 bum. Rest. Bum, 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 bum. Rest. Rest. It's such a cool thing. And he does it every single phrase he does. So book in your ideas with rests. It lets them stand out more. And lastly, the use of patterns. So it doesn't matter what key you're in or what phrase you're using, you can use patterns to help make some more excitement to your playing. Remember when Chuck walked down in the groups of 3 when he said, right? That's a cool pattern to use. It makes it really stand out. I would say that's probably one of the nice ear twisters in the whole thing that make you go, oh yeah, yeah, that's nice. And then remember, he turns right around and uses the pattern of 2s. So then you go. That nice little pattern of 2s is so cool coming off of just hearing the 3s, right? So think about patterns and how you can tie different notes together. So what I want to do now is I want to take a basic, I'm going to change keys. I'm going to go to G. And I'm going to take a basic chord. I'm just going to give myself a G. And I'm going to try to use some of these ideas and just see how they roll off. I'm going to just groove with it for a minute. So if I'm thinking, all right, bookend with rests. Well, let's go in order. I'm thinking phrasing. So I'm going to repeat myself, create a phrase and repeat it. I'm going to think using blues sparingly as flavor. I'm going to think using rests as a point of separating ideas. And then I'm going to think of using some sort of repeated pattern. So let's see what happens. Yeah, so you can see there's all kinds of stuff you can do with this. You can go on and on and on, but mainly take the conceptual things that we went over, right? It's great stuff you can learn from Chuck Leavell. He's one of the masters. You don't play with as many big names and get as much notoriety for being a slacker. Okay, the dude's a heavy hitter. He's awesome. He's got lots to offer. So remember, don't settle for just learning the solo. Learn the concepts of the solo and then reapply them. All right, tune in next time. We'll tear apart another solo. See you then. Hey y'all, thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. You can also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. See you next time.